The Uncharted series has become one of the most popular PlayStation exclusive titles since its debut with 2007's Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Developer Naughty Dog took inspiration from films like Indiana Jones and games like Tomb Raider to craft a franchise all about mystery, friendship, and adventure. Over the years, Uncharted has improved on itself time after time, with each sequel upping the ante and solidifying Naughty Dog's reputation as being one of the best developers in the industry. Now, for the first time, and possibly last, Nathan Drake and crew are back for one more adventure on the PlayStation 4. But is Uncharted 4 a thief's end the conclusion that the fans deserve? For the purposes of this review, I'm going to be analyzing the game in three categories: story, presentation, and gameplay. There are no major plot spoilers in this review, but I will touch on small story elements, so consider this a minor spoiler warning.
Just try to keep your tux clean. Thanks.
One of the most important aspects of every Uncharted game is the storyline. Now, like I said, I don't want to give anything away. This is a story that has to be experienced for yourself, but let's talk a little bit about the setup for the game. Uncharted 4's central storyline takes place 3 years after the events of Uncharted 3. Nathan Drake has retired from his life of treasure hunting, that is, until he's visited by his long-lost brother Sam. Sam tells Nathan that he's in trouble and has to find the lost treasure of pirate captain Henry Avery or he may be killed. Even though Nathan is reluctant at first, his thirst for adventure is still pretty strong, and once again he's pulled back into the life. Along the way, other characters from series past make a return, and we get to experience parts of Nathan's life that really explore his relationship with Sam, while also uncovering the mystery of Henry Avery and his pirate colony. As far as storytelling goes, Uncharted 4 does the best job out of any game in the series. The game is paced really well, starting out slow and giving you time to get invested in the new characters. Sam is also a very well-written character, and shares the same love for history and adventure as his brother Nathan. The relationship between the two works perfectly, which is influenced heavily by the fantastic performances from Nolan North and Troy Baker. The adventure this time around is also told much better than in previous games. Getting invested in what happened to Henry Avery was really easy. I was constantly wanting to know more about him and his other pirates, and when you do finally find out, it's one of the best moments in the entire series. The writing for this game all around is some of Naughty Dog's best work, and I'd even say it's on par with their previous game, The Last of Us. Now, this being a final chapter, to get the most out of the story, it would be wise to have played the previous games in the series, but you don't necessarily have to. Naughty Dog did an amazing job adding little pieces of fan service throughout the game that reference Nathan Drake's past adventures. I won't talk about the ending at all, but as an Uncharted fan, this is probably the best conclusion we could have gotten, and I couldn't be happier with how it turned out.
Is that it?
You asked for it.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
If you've seen any trailers or promotional material for Uncharted 4, or have made it this far into the review, you don't need me to tell you just how gorgeous this game is. It pretty much speaks for itself. Graphically, this is one of the best looking console games that I've ever seen or played. The game is vast, and there are so many little details everywhere that constantly distract you, but in a good way. The jump from PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4 was an incredible one. Character models are detailed beautifully, and thanks to motion capture work from some fantastic voice actors, they're believable. These are some of the best performances I've ever seen in a game, and at times I completely forgot that I was even playing one. Level design has always been strong in this series, but Uncharted 4 takes it even further. There are rich jungles to explore, mountains to climb, and for the first time in the series, open-ended levels that allow you to take multiple paths to reach your destination, or just explore for new treasures. This wouldn't be Uncharted without the ridiculous, over-the-top set-piece moments, but damn, they're good this time. Naughty Dog took great care in making sure that all of these incredible sections are fully interactive, and when some games would take control away, this game allows you to experience every single moment. As far as technical hiccups, I didn't experience any. The game runs at a steady 30 frames per second during single player, and at a nice 60 frames per second during multiplayer. After spending over 13 hours in the game, I can't say that I encountered any major glitches or game-breaking problems. This is AAA gaming at its finest, and Naughty Dog once again have topped themselves.
Samuel Drake. And his younger, slightly less charming brother.
Uncharted has always been a series that's fun to play, and Uncharted 4 is no exception. If you've played the previous games, you'll feel right at home, and if you're new, the gameplay is simple enough that you can master it pretty quickly. There are multiple difficulty modes to choose from, some catering towards just seeing the story, and others that make the game pretty challenging. Uncharted 4's gameplay is divided into two parts, traversing the landscape of each level and shooting encounters. Exploring each level is basically the same as in the past. You'll jump, climb, and swing your way around a mostly linear path to get to your next destination, but there are a few new gameplay mechanics introduced when it comes to navigation. The first is the use of a rope that you can use to swing across chasms or pull different objects to solve puzzles and help you reach higher places. Using the rope broke up the traversal gameplay quite a bit. In previous games, you might get to an area and look around for a while and not really know what you should do, but in Uncharted 4, the rope is used in places where it makes sense, and I never really struggled trying to locate the next path. The next major addition are rocky slopes that you have to slide down in order to progress. These sections were really cool, and were often combined with rope swinging, which added a fast pace to what used to be a somewhat monotonous part of these games. The environmental puzzles also made use of both of these mechanics, and none of the puzzles in the game ever felt frustrating. You always had enough information needed to solve them with a little bit of thinking. Earlier, I mentioned that this time Naughty Dog incorporated more open levels. These were a fantastic addition. One level in particular tasks you with driving a Jeep around various rocky terrain to reach a volcano. While doing this, there are numerous optional buildings and sections that could contain treasure or journal entries that give you more insight into the Avery narrative. Not every level in the game was like this, but even the more linear sections have multiple branching paths that you can take, which will ultimately lead to the same place. This type of stuff just enhances replayability, as you'll want to try going a different way to see things you might have missed the first time through. The set-piece sections were done incredibly well, as is expected with this series, the highlights being a car chase through city streets and a crumbling building. While I don't quite think that these live up to some of the ones seen in previous games, such as the train in Uncharted 2 or the plane in Uncharted 3, they're more interactive this time and give the player more control. I feel that the story really took precedence over the set-piece sections this time around, but that choice worked out for the better. Gunplay is mostly the same. You can carry 2 weapons at a time, and it uses a cover-based system. Typically in most shootouts you'll be heavily outnumbered, but the hit detection has been improved greatly from Uncharted 3, so I never really encountered any cheap deaths. There are multiple enemy types, from your standard mercenary and snipers, to heavy gunners with shotguns and machine guns. The game does a great job of giving you the tools that you need for every situation, including the ability to use stealth instead of shooting, which is a first for the series. Now you may be saying to yourself, but wait a sec, there was stealth gameplay in Uncharted 2 and 3. While that's true, it was not done anything like this. Stealth this time around has been greatly refined, and is more comparable to something like Metal Gear Solid. Most combat sections have areas with tall grass that you can use to sneak up and take out your foes. Enemies also have a line-of-sight detection system. If they see you for too long, a meter will start to fill up, until eventually everyone goes on full alert. But if you break this line of sight and hide, they might not be able to find you again. Also, you can mark your enemies in these sections, allowing you to slow down and plan your route, and in certain cases, skip enemies completely. Stealth really helps break up the normal routine of gameplay, and having the option to be sneaky or go in Rambo style gives everyone a chance to play this game how they want. Just like in the earlier titles, Uncharted 4 has a ton of collectibles to find in each level. This includes over 100 treasures, journal entries, and a first in the series, optional conversations. These conversations are contextual. You have to be in a certain area of a level to trigger them, so they encourage exploration. Just like with the journal entries, these conversations add to the story and characters, but you don't have to get them all to understand the story. You can even spend Uncharted points to unlock custom character skins for story mode, or modify the game with things like zero gravity or infinite ammo. These collectibles are a nice touch to keep you playing long after you finish the storyline. Most gamers play Uncharted for the single-player story, but the multiplayer is still worth checking out. You get to choose from your standard multiplayer game types: Team Deathmatch, Plunder, which is basically a version of Capture the Flag, and Command, which is Uncharted's version of Territories. The gameplay in multiplayer works the same as in single-player, only this time it's in 60 frames per second, and you can pick up treasure in each match that allow you to purchase abilities, such as a heavy weapon or a mystical power. I only played a few matches, but I can tell that gamers may find a lot here. You can customize the look of your character for matches, and even create custom loadouts with your favorite weapons. Naughty Dog also added daily challenges that can help you unlock these features faster. Overall, there's a ton to do and see in this game, and even though it took me around 12 hours to complete, you can spend countless more trying to collect everything, playing on harder difficulties, or with the multiplayer. Uncharted 4: Thief's End is one of those special games that really makes you appreciate why we love gaming in the first place. It has an incredible narrative, characters, action, adventure, collectibles, the list goes on. My final verdict for Uncharted 4: Thief's End is a 5 out of 5. Naughty Dog have outdone themselves once again. If you were looking for the next great PlayStation 4 game, or a reason to buy a PlayStation 4, Uncharted 4 is that game. You won't be disappointed.